Sorry, guys. I completely forgot I had a load of laundry um, that I had to put in the dryer. So, and then I also had to put my other load of laundry in. Okay, anyway, hi. Welcome to my blind playthrough of Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot, the first cases. So we have just discovered who the murderer is, and we are about to, I guess, confront everyone and explain how we came, like our proof and stuff. So, but if you guys are new to the channel, please leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate the support. But yeah, let's see what we got here. Elizabeth Paget. I was told that Mademoiselle Elizabeth was not feeling herself following the Major's death, quite understandable considering the memories of Luke would still be fresh in her mind. I accepted and did not question her absence in the house. I now know that was a grave error. Hearing Monsieur Becker's in the Major's study, Elizabeth knew that the Major was responsible for the death of Luke, information that would have been overwhelming for anyone to hear. I did not think she would be capable of confronting the Major and eventually murdering him, but revenge is a powerful motivator. Ernesto de Silva. So this is the last paragraph that's new. Monsieur de Silva was quick to talk of his business ventures and successes, but I doubt that his ethical ventures are a subject his wish to share with many. His wish to share with many? He allowed his personal feelings toward Madame Vanden Bosch to dictate his working relationship with the late Viscount, trying to bankrupt him and force him into a position that they, or at least she, would require his help. The crimes that he has been accused of do not beg for much imagination to see the truth in them. Perhaps the blackmailer letter he has received will open his eyes to the treatment he gives to both his workers in his factories and in his home. Major Felix Hagen. So, it seems that the Major has not changed since the last time we have crossed paths. He is involving himself in Mademoiselle Angeline's life. Somewhere it appears his attention is... Oh, this is not different, though. I guess this is. Hold on. Hey! Oof, big stretch. Inge, Frank, come on, you can lie down here. Let's see. Come on, you can lie down. Young Inge's life is far more colorful that I was led to believe. Although the woman's shelter may have taken her from the streets and into a wealthy home, she has not entirely left her life of crime behind her. She has stepped away from her petty theft, but became a spy and informer for the Comtesse. Even knowing that was being asked of her, Even knowing what was being asked of her, Inge still shows loyalty and obedience to the Comtesse, an adoration that is wasted. Rihanna Piet. Um, As a loyal member of the staff for so many years, I did not expect Rihanna to be so dishonest and to be involved in the Major's death. She may not have been the one that killed him, but the part she played in covering up the truth and distorting the timeline makes her an accessory and accomplice to murder. Well, it was her brother that he killed. Like, can you blame her? Anyway, let's go. Uh... Oh yeah, the storeroom. Was that Yeah, I guess it was upstairs. Oops, shit. I'm caught on stuff. Where is that? Over here? Yeah, here. Why would Monsieur Sterling be in here clattering around in the dead of night? How did he think I wouldn't hear him either? The carpet is up. There's a... Oh wait, no. There's scratch marks on the floor. I didn't notice that before. Or were there boxes in front of it? That cabinet moves. New mind map unlocked. Archie is up in the middle of the night making some amount of noise. I must find out the extent of his behavior. Okay. There's the door behind here. Guess I'll talk to him.
Monsieur Sterling. Oh, detective. I was just...
Please, I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this hour.
Hold on, you guys. sorry. The dogs are like going nuts. Please, I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this
A
hour.
butler's job is never...
I am no fool, monsieur. You have spun enough stories this weekend.
Honestly, Detective, you don't trust anyone.
And with good reason.
My patient has all but run out. What are you doing in here?
I've been thinking about my time with the family.
I often think on fond memories, but it does not take me to a storage room in the middle of the night.
There are many memories held within these walls. I just wanted to see them again.
Monsieur Sterling sounds as though he has plans on leaving the house.
You never let on. How long have you known it was her?
Monsieur, I am Detective Hercule Poirot. I only show my hand when I deem it necessary.
You will be taking her away then.
She will stand trial for what she has done.
But you don't know the full story. She is just a servant in this house. If she is arrested, that will be the end for her.
If Mademoiselle was only protecting herself, as you both have claimed, she will surely be found innocent.
It sounded as though you were I guess I should have got an order. Oops.
I didn't realize the noise I was making.
Obviously. Were you preoccupied looking for another of the Major's medals?
Of course not. I already explained.
No, monsieur. You attempted to dupe me again into believing one of your stories.
Please, Detective. I know you know how it ended up in my possession. I was just trying to get some extra money together to send home. I can't lose this job. If Lady Van den Bosch found out...
Theft of a medal would be the very least of your problems.
You've done nothing but deceive and abuse your position in the house.
Deceive? I'm sorry that I lied to you about the medal.
Even when confronted, Monsieur Sterling still remains steadfast and refused to acknowledge what he has done.
Would you care to explain the fake telephone call? It was purely for my benefit, no?
Why would I fake a telephone call?
The same reason that Mademoiselle Rihanna dressed in the Major's jacket in the snow, to allow not only the guests but me to believe the Major was still alive.
I didn't kill him, Detective.
I know, monsieur. But I also know that you helped the one that did to cover their tracks.
It wasn't like that. We were just trying to help. She had no part in it.
You still have not explained what you were doing in here.
The Major's military storage box.
The one that stored his medals.
Amongst other things, yes.
And those other things are?
I had to protect her. If you found it when searching the study, you would have carted her off then and there.
Whatever it is you have hidden, it will not remain that way for much longer.
Monsieur Sterling is obviously hiding something. I should perhaps conduct my own search for it instead of relying on his cryptic messages.
I need a moment.
Oh. Oh. One of the many saint carvings from around the house abandoned in a box. Why is the saint carving in here? Because there's a door right there, Poirot. A door. Oh, my goodness, I have to do this, I guess. Yeah. Investigate Archie's suspicious behavior.
Another success. I never doubted myself.
The detached carving may relate to a door in this room. This would explain Archie's presence.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
Archie must have hidden items in the secret room. I presume this exists within here somewhere. Inspect the storage room. So it's obviously that, so we're gonna go this.
Oh. Huh.
And this most obvious thing here. Aha, a hidden room. It seems there are more secrets in this house to discover. Oh.
Huh.
A prestigious looking knife, likely belonging to the Major. Letter of the late Viscount. It seems he truly loved Angeline. Declaration. I declare that I, Viscount Edwin van den Bosch, am of sound mind. This last will expresses my wishes without undue influence or duress. Article 1. In the event of my death, I hereby appoint my wife, Cassandra van den Bosch, as the executor of the Van den Bosch estate, and I leave the remaining wealth held in the Van den Bosch name to my only daughter, Angeline van den Bosch. Any outstanding debts, expenses of my last illness, funeral expenses, and administration costs are to be paid from the Van den Bosch account at the National Bank of Belgium. To my daughter Angeline, you are the apple of my eye and the brightest star in the sky. Never allow your light to fade for even a moment. To my wife Cassandra, thank you for the many joyous years. We have laughed, we have loved, and we have brought the most precious of gifts into this world together. I trust that you will protect her and prepare her for a future full of opportunity and hope. Viscount Edwin van den Bosch, Monsieur Victor Rigaud and Petit Solicitors. Okay. Ooh, expensive lighter. An expensive looking lighter, it looks to have, unfortunately, been through a war. Come, my little Great Cells, I believe we already know something about this mystery. Military service box. The Major's military service box, it contains letters and keepsakes. Okay. God, okay, ouch. Military knife.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
This lighter must belong to the Major. The army symbol all but confirms this, but don't I already have this all in my possession?
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
The lighter I found in the military box is certainly the Major's, meaning the other one is not. Talk to Archie. Oh, he killed prisoners of war? Damn.
What a revelation!
The murder weapon has been found. Elizabeth must have used this in the study. Major's knife is the murder weapon. Was that it? Let's talk to Archibald.
There is no use lying anymore.
When I inspected the garden yesterday, I found a lighter I assumed belonged to the Major.
He always had his regiment lighter that he received in the war on his person.
And yet, it was not his regiment emblem that was engraved on it.
My father's. It must have fallen out of my pocket. You still have it, Detective.
Monsieur, you have stashed evidence, manipulated a crime scene, obscured my investigation, and yet it is a lighter that you worry about most?
If it is my path to end up behind bars for what I have done, so be it. It is Elizabeth that you cannot allow to be locked up without the truth being told. I have heard how you fought for that young maid before. Fleurette, is it? I only ask that you do the same for Elizabeth.
Although the case differs greatly in severity, I can envision the similarities in how Mademoiselle Elizabeth will be treated by those in positions of authority or social standing even before she is tried. It is my oath as an officer of the law to uphold justice and fairness. Mademoiselle must be given the chance to prove her innocence before the courts as any other suspect. The absent murder weapon.
You found it.
Even the secret area that has been created here is not concealed enough to stop Detective Hercule Poirot.
I couldn't just leave it at the scene for you to find.
The Major was killed by his own knife. The knife that protected his life during the war would eventually be the one that ended it.
Sorry guys, my boyfriend just woke up from a nap, so I just wanted to talk to him quickly about the plan. We gotta do some cleaning later, so thank you, darling. Aw. Yeah, we'll have to take you guys for a walk after, okay? Oh, fuck. God, oh, my shoulder's killing me, though. Oh. Okay, let's get back to the game.
It was in his holster when he attacked her. He had hold of her arm. What else was she meant to use to get him off of her?
It was established that the stab wound was a defensive wound, so she did stab him in self-defense. So I assume that would be very, very important, so. Guys, let him out the door! I cannot imagine the Major would have given his knife up easily. She must have been in close proximity to reach it. Perhaps he did attack her as she claims. He did! Even fucking Comtesse said that the stab wound was shallow and it was a defensive wound.
She didn't plan any of it, Detective. She was only defending herself.
I agree.
That is what Mademoiselle told you?
She did, and I believe her. You think you knew the Major, but you had no idea. He was a monster and had more secrets than all of us combined.
Yeah, she went to go confront him about the death of Luke. He probably got in her face and started attacking her, and then she stabbed him.
That may be true, but that does not excuse what she has done.
Put yourself in her shoes for a minute. If a man like that had attacked me the way he did Lizzie, I would have done a lot worse to him.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told Monsieur Sterling a version of the events that suggests she was attacked by the Major. I struggle to believe that she would make such a story up, but then I also did not believe she could do such a thing as commit murder. It was self-defense, Poirot. Come on now.
I need a moment.
She was coming up to us to confess that she killed him because she's been feeling guilty the whole time, even though it was not intentional. I guess I have more. Yeah. Oh, I got. Oh no, one. Holy crap. Okay. What do we got here? Archibald claims the Major attacked Elizabeth. A lighter from the garden belongs to Archie. Okay, Archie was in the garden. Okay, what are we going to... Okay. It's okay, don't cry, baby. Come on, lie down. Good girl. I'll take you guys on a walk in a bit, okay? You guys really want to go early today, huh? Okay. I don't... Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I have no flippin' clue right now. So we know the Major had no money. We obviously know that. We know he was also being blackmailed. My brain's just kaput right now, you guys. Major was building his militia.
Is there
Nope.
something?
He was just honorably discharged because he didn't... So he's not receiving a pension.
Order and method.
No,
That
that doesn't make sense either. am I missing? There's a lot that you can connect, but I'm just trying to think of. So, he admits the cover-up.
Come, my
No.
little grey silence.
Think logically. I thought I was looking at these two before, but I was like, how does that really?
I should not be surprised by my own
If the only thing I found was Archibald's lighter, he must have collected something else. What else did Archibald collect from the garden? The knife. Yeah, so someone dropped. That's what I said. They threw it out the window. The weapon.
Magnifique.
Archibald dropped the murder weapon from the window, collected it, then hid it in the secret room. There we go. So we'll talk to him again.
There is no use lying anymore.
Ouch, my arm. It was you that I saw in the garden that night.
When you asked me yesterday about seeing someone out there, I thought the game was up.
That does not explain what.
Okay, so it was
doing
him.
there.
I was right. I was like, what? Because I thought they said it was Rihanna impersonating the Major, but I'm like, I swear to God, it was Archie because of the way he was standing with his like arm behind his back.
When Lizzie took me to the study, the knife was still in the Major's chest, and I knew I had to get rid of it. I dropped it out of the window, knowing no one would be going outside. It was fine for the time being, but I couldn't risk it being found when the snow melted.
So you collected it under the cover of darkness and stowed it away in here where you thought no one would find it.
After your questioning in the pantry, I knew you were onto something, and I couldn't leave it here.
And where did you plan on moving it to?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Oh, ouch. Collecting the item and hiding it to save Elizabeth, he must truly want to protect her from the law. Well, didn't they say he's like the father and then Rihanna is like the mom? Objective complete. Yeah, okay. Now what? I am confused. Now what?
There is no use lying anymore. Why I would risk everything to help Lizzie?
Exactement.
Because she is family. If you were in that position, you would do the same.
I can assure you, monsieur, that I would not.
Then perhaps that says something about you, Detective. I would do anything for her. For any of my staff.
Aw.
Even if it means crossing the boundaries of the law.
Without question.
The lengths that Monsieur Sterling would go to protect. I can't talk. Let's try this again. The lengths that Monsieur Sterling would go to protect someone he considers family is admirable. But when those lengths break the very laws that are in place to protect the innocent, they cannot be ignored. But he wasn't innocent. Oh my goodness! Excuse me. I ask that once your morning duties for the ladies of the house are complete, Mademoiselle Rihanna and yourself await in the staff quarters.
Aye, Detective. But please, you have to help Lizzie. It was all an accident. She doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her days behind bars because of that man.
If she is put behind bars, it is because that is what the courts have decided upon.
Detective, you can't be so cruel.
It is not cruelty, monsieur. It is the law.
After all these further revelations, my mind is as busy as Monsieur Goulet's chocolate shop. Ugh. I have all of the pieces of the puzzle to deduce why Elizabeth killed the Major. Now I must allow my little gray cells to put them together. Oh, okay, new map. After finding those documents in the hidden room, things are starting to fall into place as to why Elizabeth may have killed him. Luke died at the factory strike. Yeah, here. Major's not receiving pension and he was in a bad financial state.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming to...
The Major's financial struggles must have left him in need of a source of income. Who could the Major have turned to in his time of need? The Major was desperate for a well-paid job. Security attacked first.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
The Major needed the job to go ahead. It was the only way to guarantee money in his pocket. What could he do to ensure the job would be complete?
I should not be surprised by my own...
To secure his payment, the Major must have ordered the attack at the strikes. What were the consequences of the Major's attack, ordering the first attack? Well, Luke was killed.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
The Major's actions unfortunately led to the death of Luke, and all for greed. Who could have been most affected by this? Oh wait, that's... These two are...
What a revelation!
This information would have destroyed his reputation if unveiled, a strong motive for blackmail. Major was being blackmailed over war crimes. Just getting rid of all these exclamation points. It's okay, Luca.
Another success.
Elizabeth has probably lost more than anyone else involved. She may have sought her revenge. Elizabeth doesn't seem like the vengeful type, but all signs are pointing to her seeking revenge for her beloved Luke. Oops. If I am to confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth, I must be at my best and my little gray cells at their most alert. It is time to at least try and rest. I have no time to wallow in my lack of sleep. I must confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth and hopefully finally know the truth of what took place.
Detective Poirot, I'm glad you're awake.
Oh God, what happened?
Bonjour, mademoiselle. It has certainly not been a night of peaceful sleep. There is something that we must discuss.
Please, Detective, I'm not sure I can take any more surprises like last night.
I'm afraid this may be the most upsetting of them all.
You have found Felix's killer, haven't you?
I have. And the guilty party will certainly come as a shock.
I take no great pleasure in telling you this, mademoiselle.
Detective, please.
It was Mademoiselle Elizabeth that was behind the Major's death.
You must be mistaken. Elizabeth could not do such a thing.
I assure you I am not. It is something I spent much of last night deliberating. When you spoke of the telephone lines being out of order, it made me question the conversation I thought I had heard Monsieur Sterling make with the Major before connecting the call to him.
But it hasn't been working all weekend.
Exactement, mademoiselle. That is when I knew I had once again been lied to.
On my way to speaking with Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna, I met Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
She was meant to be resting in the staff quarters. She has not been well.
I am afraid that was yet another lie, orchestrated to keep her from incriminating herself.
Why would you think that, Detective?
I only managed a few words with her before we were quite abruptly interrupted by Monsieur Sterling.
I must admit, he has a habit of speaking over the other staff.
It was much more than merely disturbing our conversation. It was done with the intention to prevent Mademoiselle saying something that she should not.
So, Elizabeth killed Felix, and then Archibald helped her cover it up?
In its simplest form, oui. I have heard it directly from the horse's mouth.
You have spoken with Elizabeth already? Did she admit to it?
Not Elizabeth, but Monsieur Sterling.
Were you not awoken last night by the tremendous amount of noise coming from the storage room?
I wasn't. What were you doing in there, Detective?
It was Monsieur Sterling that I found in there. I was taken by some surprise to hear anyone awake at that hour.
What on earth was he doing?
He claimed he was merely reminiscing of his time with the family.
You don't believe him?
It did not take long for me to uncover the truth of why he was there, and the location of the Major's murder weapon.
Did you know of the hidden area within the storage room?
Hidden area?
A room that held all of the Major's secrets.
I had no idea. Did you discover the reason for his blackmail?
I did. Were you aware he was dishonorably discharged from the army?
Dishonorably? What does that mean?
I will not hide the truth from Mademoiselle, but I will try and be as delicate as possible with the news of the Major's prior actions. I am sure you are aware of Monsieur Zachariah's troubles he faces from his time in the war.
Yes, Gideon told me about the conversation you had. It is really quite upsetting.
Zachariah was adamant of the Major's cruelty during the war, but the extent was not known until now. He killed a number of prisoners, men that were friends of Zachariah.
I was right about that.
Surely not. He would not do such a thing. They must have been trying to escape.
Really, Angeline? Come on, girl.
I am afraid not. They were in fact unarmed.
Oh, Detective.
It is the reason he was discharged, denied his military pension, and I believe the reason he fled England.
He had been such an important part of my life for so long, but I feel like I hardly knew him.
Monsieur Sterling was adamant of Mademoiselle Elizabeth's innocence.
Innocence? You said it was she that killed him.
It was her hand that held the knife, but he was quite insistent it happened in self-defense.
In all of the years I have known her, she has barely even raised her voice. I cannot believe she would do something like that out of malice.
The whole truth cannot be known until Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told her story.
I allowed my perception of her character to conceal any thought of her involvement. It seems I am not the only one. The time has come to confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
Will you allow me to be present?
I think that is an excellent idea. I hope your presence will calm her and will perhaps allow her to speak more freely.
What are you looking at, Luca? Luca.
Please,
Yeah, weirdo.
Detective. I know she has done a terrible thing, but I beg of you to give her the time to explain herself.
I will offer Mademoiselle Elizabeth the fair trial that she deserves, as I would with any suspect.
Thank you, Detective Poirot.
Would you bring Mademoiselle Elizabeth to the study, where we will not be disturbed?
Of course, I'll find her immediately.
I believe what Monsieur Sterling has already told me about the events that occurred between Mademoiselle Elizabeth and the Major. I do not believe she would have had to do what she did if he had not attacked her and pushed her to the point where she feared for her life. I must listen to her story, the truth, and only then can her punishment be determined.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth, merci for joining us.
Miss Angeline said you requested to see me urgently.
We have some serious matters to discuss, and I would like to waste no further time.
Oh, yes, Detective.
How are you feeling, mademoiselle?
Still not quite myself.
I was surprised when Monsieur Sterling hurried you to assist Madame Vandenbosch last night.
I should not have avoided my duties for so long. The house does not stop because I'm feeling a little under the weather.
That is true, but you cannot be expected to complete all your tasks if you are not in the right frame of mind.
Honestly, Detective, it was best for me to not sit and wallow anymore.
My investigation has taken me down many paths this weekend.
Have you been able to uncover who the blackmailer is?
The blackmailer's identity has been established, and they will pay the price for their crimes.
Wonderful news, Detective. You can put it all behind you now. You must be thrilled.
I would not say thrilled, knowing that such a close friend has betrayed us.
Mademoiselle is correct. What I have learned over this weekend is that people are not always as they appear. While they may give an impression of being a friend or ally, they can in fact be something completely different.
We just don't know her motive.
And, what of the Major's killer?
Well, mademoiselle, that is why I have asked you here now.
I posed the question to all of the guests what their thoughts on the Major were, and now I extend that question to you.
I'm not quite sure what you want me to say, Detective.
Your honest opinion is all I ask, and, s'il te plaît, do not hold back. No one else felt it necessary.
We only spoke when there was something in the house to be done. We did not speak of interests or pastimes.
You knew of his work with Monsieur de Silva?
I only know what is required of me to know, and that is very little.
But you were aware of his work as security at Monsieur de Silva's factory.
I was.
The factory your beloved Luke worked at before he was cruelly taken from this world.
Yes, Detective.
I understand Luke was not only involved in strikes, but was on the front line.
Yes, that is where he spent his last moments. Standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow workers.
The resulting riots were a terrible tragedy, one that I hope we will not have to see or experience again. Something that could have been avoided had the Major and his team done what was required of them.
Nobody deserved to die that day. Not my Luke.
Do you blame the Major for his death?
Detective, what kind of question is that?
It is a straightforward one. Mademoiselle, if there is something you wish to tell me, now is that time.
I'm sorry, Detective, I just don't know how to answer it.
Let us consider what we know of the Major. He fronted the militia that attacked the workers at the strike. You were aware of this? You finally had someone to blame for Luke's death. Someone conveniently located in the same house, alone in his study.
No, Detective. It wasn't like that.
Tell me what happened with the Major on the evening of his death.
I was only in here trying to prove what I heard Mr. Beckers say. I was going to report him, I swear. Miss Angeline, you believe me, don't you?
I want to. I am still trying to understand it all myself. Why don't you start from the beginning?
I was delivering Miss Angeline's dress to her room when I heard Mr. Beckers arguing with the Major in his study. They were ever so loud. I thought the whole house would have been listening to what they were saying. Mr. Beckers was talking about the factory strikes and how it was the Major's fault. He told him that if he didn't own up to his crimes, he would go to the newspapers.
I cannot imagine the Major would have taken kindly to Monsieur Becker's threat.
He didn't. He called him some rather uncouth names before Mr. Beckers left and went downstairs. I made sure to keep out of sight. And I thought I could look around his study without anyone knowing. I had to know for sure. If it was true, he deserved to be held accountable.
And did you find...
Nothing incriminating about that. I was so nervous. I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest.
And then you saw the blackmail note.
I recognized the writing on the envelope. I couldn't believe it. How could he do such a thing to Angeline? To the family that had taken him in?
Common sense would determine the Major was another victim of the blackmailer.
If I'd have used common sense, I wouldn't have been snooping around alone in his study in the first place. I heard the footsteps in the hall, and before I could move, the Major was standing in front of me, demanding to know why I was going through his belongings without permission. I tried to come up with an excuse, but nothing came out, and when he saw the letter in my hand, it was like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde. I tried to move around him towards the door, but he hurled something towards me, and it crashed against the wall.
Ah, the dent in the wall.
That would explain the damage to the wall.
I froze. I have never been so scared in all my life. I thought he was going to kill me there and then.
And you thought you would beat him to it?
Oh, Detective, you make it sound as though I had it all planned. He lunged forward and grabbed me by the arm. I tried to push him away, but he was too strong. His grip just got tighter and tighter. If only you had seen the look in his eyes, I dared not even scream. I saw the sheath on his belt. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to hurt him, but he wouldn't let go of me.
So you took your opportunity to put an end to it all.
I just wanted to get him off me. I didn't want to hurt him. I reached for it and I jabbed it at him. His grip instantly loosened and I ran straight out the door and didn't look back.
You did not even look to see what state you had left him in?
She had just been attacked, Detective.
Oui, please. Continue.
I ran down to the pantry looking for Rahana. She took one look at me and knew something was wrong.
Luca! Luca! Hey! There's no need to bark, sweetie.
I explained to her what had happened and she went to find Archie. She said he would know what to do. We went back to the study and he was still lying there, motionless.
Hey, babe. Hi.
Archie said that no one would believe me. That if someone like me killed someone like him, I would be sent straight to the gallows. He left the letter so you would find it. He said that if people knew what the Major was really like, then they wouldn't care what happened to him.
So I am to believe that it was Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that cleaned the scene and orchestrated a plan that included a fake telephone call and dressing as the Major so that he may be seen. You had nothing to do with that.
I swear I had no idea that is what they had done. Archie just told me to stay out of sight. I am no master criminal.
Then Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna will be charged for obstruction of justice and impeding my investigation.
Please, Detective, they were only trying to help me.
If they wished to help you, they should have brought all of this to my attention immediately instead of committing more illegal acts.
Surely you haven't forgotten what happened with Florette. She was only accused of stealing a bracelet. I killed a man.
It is a day I have not forgotten, mademoiselle. Even for a moment.
Without your help, I don't stand a chance. Please, Detective Poirot, you are the only one that can help me.
Oh, Elizabeth, why didn't you come to me?
I didn't think you would believe me. I felt so guilty. And when it was announced yesterday that he was a victim of the blackmailer, I wanted to tell you everything. I came to find you last night, Detective, but Archie stopped me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Come, my little great cells, let us solve this mystery. Spaz Major when he won't let her go. Defensive.
Magnifique.
Elizabeth's story confirms Margot's claim. The Major's death was the result of a defensive strike. Finally, I have solved the case of the Major's murder. I must admit I take no joy in declaring Mademoiselle Elizabeth as the killer, and I wish she had never been put in such a position at all. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Let's not look at the trophies. Okay, so it looks like I've got only a couple trophies left. Huh. Oh, I have found all the... Okay, cool. Awesome. The truth. Elizabeth killed the Major. She was acting in self-defense after being attacked by the Major while looking for evidence of his connection to Luke's death at the riots. Okay, so talk to Elizabeth.
Oh, yes, Detective.
The Major's missing knife.
I don't know where it is.
If you have been honest with me until now, I ask that you continue.
I'm sorry, I really don't know. Archie dropped it out of the study window and he said he would deal with it. I couldn't bear to touch the thing.
I have the knife in my possession, and I believe that from Mademoiselle's reaction, she does not know what became of it. She is unaware of the efforts that Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna went to mask what she had done. Monsieur Sterling was not lying when he said he would do anything for her. Merci, Mademoiselle. S'il vous plaît, wait in my room.
Please, I was only protecting myself. I didn't want to hurt him. He just wouldn't let me go.
Oui, mademoiselle. I know. Mademoiselle tells quite the harrowing story.
I cannot imagine the Major acting in such a way. But Elizabeth could not make up such a story.
Oh my god, Angeline's so dumb. Like, you don't even know how fucking evil he was.
After learning what I have about the Major's character this weekend, I would not question the lengths he would go to in order to keep his secret hidden.
Not because the glance he would go not against.
I know that you share a close bond with Mademoiselle Elizabeth, but you cannot allow your personal feelings to taint your belief of what took place.
Okay.
She has committed a terrible crime, but she will live with that for the rest of her life. She is not a cold-blooded killer.
If what she says of the Major's attack is true, she acted in self-defense. And in the law's eyes, a crime has not been committed. I will do everything I can to make sure her story is heard and a fair trial is conducted.
I believe the version of events that Mademoiselle Elizabeth has confessed are true. The Major having fallen into a fit of rage at the prospect of his sordid secrets coming to light, he attacked the young Mademoiselle and drove her to do what she had to protect herself. She put herself in a dangerous position, but there is a small part of me that commends the duty she felt to find justice for her beloved and the other workers that lost their lives at the Major's order. If the telephone line is now working, I must call in my findings. With the remaining snow, it may still be some time before they arrive.
Mademoiselle, it is time I addressed the house.
Are you sure? What will you say? What if they do not listen?
I can assure you, they will.
Elizabeth was right, though. She's just a servant. What if they...
Mademoiselle, when Detective Poirot speaks, they will listen. Would you ask the guests to convene in the library?
Okay.
Of course. And what of the staff?
I have told Monsieur Starling to remain in the staff quarters with the others. When the authorities arrive, they shall be dealt with. You have been of great help to me throughout my investigation, and now that it is over, I have one final request.
You only need to ask.
While I am speaking with the guests in the library, would you watch over Mademoiselle Elizabeth in my room?
You don't think she will try and escape, do you?
In her position, I do not know what she might try. But I trust with you there, any potential ideas of such a thing will be squashed.
Okay, last chapter, you guys. I know this is the last chapter, but I kind of want to end it here.
Detective, you have spent more time making us sit and wait for you than anything else.
Madame Van den Bosch, if you think I have spent my time focused on anything besides uncovering the Major's killer, you are sorely mistaken.
I'm sure you will be eager to share your findings with us then.
All in good time, Madame. Firstly, to understand the truth of what has occurred this weekend, one must know the timeline of events that not only preceded the Major's death, but succeeded.
We are all well aware of what happened before, Detective. You can save your breath.
You are only aware of what the guilty parties wanted you to believe. But now I shall apprise you to the true events.
Ooh, this is
The
going to be
reason for us all being here, you know. The altercation between Monsieur Demire and the Major, you know. The body of Monsieur Hagen was found while we were all sat enjoying a most delicious meal. That you also know. But what was kept from us all was that his body lay on the study floor for far longer than was thought.
It was that servant. She found him.
S'il te plaît, monsieur. It was indeed young Inga that found the Major's body lying lifeless in the study.
So it was her.
Monsieur, I will not allow for any further interruptions. I return to the Major's body. If we are to believe the scene that we were presented with, the Major must have been killed during the first course of our meal, a meal that none of you left, even for a moment. Speaking in the evening, you all confirmed one another's alibis, and although there was doubt in the validity of some, I confirmed that they were indeed all true. What I could not understand was how a man came to be found dead, and every guest accounted for at the time of death. That is until I questioned the latter.
a time of death.
Monsieur Beckers,
Ah!
I shall now allow you to speak.
Hey,
You saw the
Hi.
Major smoking a cigar
where you
in the
where you
snow.
going?
Is that true?
Oh, okay,
It is.
sorry.
False.
It's kind of like forcing a dialogue
You saw
scene
what
here.
You were meant to see. Someone in the Major's
Okay,
coat
thank you, darling.
standing outside, giving the illusion
I guess
that
I
the Major was
gotta
still
keep
very
playing
much
then.
alive.
I was gonna stop
Monsieur
because we had to
Da
walk the dogs, but
On the afternoon of the Major's death, do you recall
boyfriend
hearing a
scared the
telephone
crap out of
ring?
me.
Now that you mention it, I have not heard a single ring all weekend.
Correct. The telephone lines have been down for the duration of our stay, meaning the telephone call that was received and promptly directed to the Major's study was yet another act of trickery and deceit. But it did not end there. When I entered the study for the first time, it was obvious someone had already been there and falsified the scene to stage a burglary and clear away important evidence, including the murder weapon. What followed was an investigation that had already been hindered. But even those lengths were not enough to derail me for long.
I think we have all had enough of your self-praise, Detective. Perhaps you would like to tell us who killed him now?
Shut up.
Madame, as I'm sure you would expect, it is not as simple as that. What many of you do not know is the discussion that was had between the Major and Monsieur Beckers earlier that day.
What has that got to do with anything? I told you I didn't kill him.
That I know to be true. What you do not know is that it was not only his ears that heard your spoken words.
I hope you are not implying I had something to do
Oh my
with it.
god.
No, madame, there was another. Mademoiselle Elizabeth. You are all aware that the Major was hired by Monsieur de Silva to front the security during the workers' strikes. What very few of you know is that it was the Major's order that instigated the vicious attacks on those unarmed men and resulted in numerous deaths, including Mademoiselle Elizabeth's fiancé, Luc. Monsieur Beckers confronted the Major, declaring that he was to hand himself in. That is what Mademoiselle Elizabeth overheard. Now, knowing the truth, she waited until the Major was away from his study. After he stepped outside following the confrontation with Monsieur Demir's fist, it looked to be the perfect opportunity, or so she thought. The Major returned and found her looking for the proof she required to hand him over to the authorities.
If the maid bumped him off, why hasn't she been arrested?
The events that followed in the study are not those of a cold-blooded murder, but one of a young girl that had no other option but to protect her own life.
Sounds to me, Detective, like you have taken a shine to this young girl and would rather protest her innocence than arrest her for murder, the crime she has committed.
Jeez, this is gonna make for a juicy story.
Shut up.
Mademoiselle, I ask you this. You have seen the Major's anger before, oui?
What if I have?
How do you think he would have reacted if someone was to find proof that he had committed a terrible act, and that if made public, would surely result in his incarceration?
He'd be murderous. Yeah.
Exactement.
It is quite the story you have told, Detective, but all I have heard is that Elizabeth overheard a conversation blaming the Major for her fiancé's death, and she murdered him in revenge. A servant killing a man that is as revered as he was. She will face the noose.
I am not denying that a man has lost his life, but it is not the crime of murder that you all believe. While the Major did not deserve to die in such a way, it was his actions towards Mademoiselle Elizabeth that drove her to defend herself in any way she could. Mademoiselle Elizabeth will be punished, but we will let the law decide the severity of her punishment.
She has played you like a fiddle, Detective, acting the innocent victim. She will be arrested and hanged for her crime, like every other cold-blooded killer.
I can't stand her.
Here.
Give her what she deserves.
The
What the
girl has got
fuck?
to pay for what she's done.
I could not have been clearer with what occurred in the Major's study. They have all forgotten their own perceptions of the Major, the terrible crimes he has committed, and what he has done to them all in one way or another. I cannot allow for Mademoiselle Elizabeth's sentence to be negatively influenced by unfortunate circumstances and losses of life. Perhaps I should remind them all of their participation in not only the workers' strike, but the resulting riots. So that's what? Jackie, Hugo, Ernesto,
Those of you that are calling for the hanging of Mademoiselle Elizabeth,
and
have
Cassandra.
you forgotten the roles you played? Your actions have been far from innocent.
Look, Detective, I see where you are going with this, but it's not going to work. So maybe the strikes were down to De Silva and Beckers. But don't try and drag me into their mistakes.
You're the one who convinced him, bitch. Okay, so I'm scared to press X because sometimes after they talk, like the options pop up, and then I don't want to accidentally select one of the things. So she's got her guard up. She should, because she knows she has a role in this. So I can press X here.
Mademoiselle Conrad, If you are so confident of your innocence, perhaps we should begin with you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it! Convincing Mademoiselle Conrad to admit her involvement will be no easy feat. She is strong-minded and has deflected questions in the past. Perhaps a more aggressive approach is in order. So neutral doesn't sound good. You are at the top of your field now, but tell me, why was it you entered the world of journalism? Yeah, accusing sounds better. You would do almost anything for a headline, n'est-ce pas?
You don't need to imply it's only me that does. Ask any of my journalists, they'll say the same.
Even if in the process people are hurt?
Okay. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I'm so scared. I'm gonna...
You knew the situation surrounding the strikes, and only sought to swell the anger in people and create further chaos.
Yeah, she stirred the pot. Okay.
Mademoiselle, you so often have something to say. Now is not the time for silence.
Okay, I think it's after he thinks something, then it pops up, but I'm just gonna be careful.
You really are delusional. Maybe you should just keep your theories and claims to yourself.
Oh, fuck, I almost pressed it. See, that's what I mean. I'm almost pressing X to get to the next dialogue, and that fucking thing popped up. Okay, so forceful. You used others for your own agenda, not considering the repercussions. That's pretty fucking straight on. Shaming. I did not know of any field that would sacrifice the No, that's forceful sounds. That's more direct.
You obviously have no idea what goes on in my world. I would say stick to honest police work, but it seems that it's not in your field either.
Oh, you want to go there? Frustrated. You cannot honestly believe that what you have done is acceptable. You have allowed others... Yeah, this one. You have allowed others to fall while you walk proudly across their... This one.
Look, it's...
Mademoiselle, I do not have time for your excuses. Do you wish to state your direct involvement, or should I?
Yeah.
It's not...
Nice.
Okay, fine. Yes, the story was going nowhere. There was a deal on the table, and it was going to be done and dusted.
This fucking bitch.
Everything you said is true. I wanted the story. The scoop that would have blown the others out of the water. I never wanted anyone to get hurt. But I can see what I did wasn't right. I didn't think you had this side in you. I can see now why Angeline asked for you personally. You're not like other cops. It's clear it's the law and doing the right thing through and through with you. If you say it was self-defense, I believe you.
Okay.
We can't just forget what that girl has done. It's not Jackie's fault or
really?
any of ours that she decided to do what she did.
Okay. Okay, mister, I want to make a name for myself. Yeah, press X.
Monsieur Beckers, you are the last person I expected to defend Mademoiselle Conrad.
Mm-hmm. Considering she's the one who used you.
We talked only last night, and correct me if I am wrong, but you have already declared the role you played. To me, at least.
Yes, we talked. It's just not fair of you to attack Jackie like that, putting words in her mouth until she succumbs to your plan.
Okay. I know enough of Monsieur Beckers to know that pushing him will not yield the results I need. Playing the role of an ally may be the best way to approach him. So cynical. You did not consider how a strike could turn violent, endangering your men. Direct. Even as a leader of the Union, you were swayed by one. Even playing the role of an ally. You did not consider how a strike... That sounds more accusing. Even as a leader of the Union, you were swayed by one that had no... So that sounds like you're kind of shifting the blame, not on him, but someone else. So I guess this one... I hope...
Detective, I'm afraid you're misunderstood. That is not how it was.
Okay, press... Oh, God.
It was not my intention for things to escalate as they did. I could not have predicted that would happen.
I mean, come on. The longer a strike happens, it's more likely to get fucking violent.
Jackie was documenting everything to do with the strikes. She wanted our story to be heard and wanted to know how I was handling the negotiations.
Oh yeah, okay.
And they were handled by yourself?
Naturally. If I cannot handle simple negotiations, I am not fit to be in the position I am in.
But you let her fucking... Ugh. Okay, forceful. Mademoiselle Conrad swayed, influenced, and manipulated your every decision. You take great pride in your work. Are you proud of the decisions made during the strikes? Fourth, Mademoiselle swayed, influenced. So this sounds like I don't think he would So it sounds like she swayed, influenced, and manipulated your every decision. I don't think he would want me to imply that he didn't have any, because he wouldn't want it to seem like she took... I don't know how to explain it. Like, he wants to be the one known for, getting the union up. But I don't think he also wants... You take great pride in your work. Are you proud of the decisions made? Because he didn't make a decision. He didn't sign the agreement with Ernesto. I think this one might... I don't... this is hard. Okay. You take great pride in your work. Are you proud of the decisions made during the strikes? That's said sarcastically. I think this one might be better. Oh, God.
I was only pushing for what my men deserved, what they needed.
No, you didn't.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, Detective. Surely you must know that.
Hindsight.
Nothing is ever simple, Detective. I'm sure you understand that better than anyone.
Sympathetic. I understand that you may not wish such details to be presented in front of your fellow guests, but for justice to prevail, the whole truth must be known. Neutral. You have fought for those that did not have a voice. Surely you will not allow another one to be lost in the wind of social discrimination? Well, he obviously doesn't give a shit because he's not... Yeah. I understand that you may not wish such details to be presented in... Kind of guilt him, I guess. You fought for those that did not have a voice. Surely you will not allow another one to be lost in the wind. See, he wasn't even considering that. He just automatically went like, yeah, she's guilty. Let's let her hang. So he wouldn't be able to be sympathetic. I understand that you may not wish such details to be presented in front of your fellow guests, but for justice to be... I think this one. I think. I don't know. The neutral sounds really good, but to me, he doesn't seem like he cares.
Right, I have tried so hard to deny my part, but I know only too well that my decisions led to the death of those men.
Okay, so good. That was the right one. I was actually almost about to pick the other one, but I was like, that wouldn't make sense to like try and get him to sympathize with her because he wasn't sympathizing with her at all. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I was thinking it.
I know I cannot excuse what I've done. I just want you all to know that I am not a hateful or malicious man. I only wanted to prove that I was the right man. I have lived in other shadows for so long. I thought I would be able to finally step into the light and be the one that everyone remembered.
Hey, baby.
Not forgot.
How was the walk? Thank you. Sorry, I was gonna try and end the stream, but it automatically went into like dialogue and it just like kept going. I was like, oh, this is an actual, huh? Thank you. Okay, so I thought I would be able to finally step in flight and be the one that everyone remembered, not forgot. Oh, they'll remember you. Don't worry.
Monsieur da Silva offered me a deal and I turned it down. I thought I was doing right by the workers. But it was only myself I was thinking about.
Yeah.
What more proof do you need? He said it himself. I made a generous offer to reach a resolution, and he turned his nose up at it.
I made a generous offer, and he turned his nose up at it. Okay.
It was not that simple, though.
I'm so scared that...
Oui, an offer was made. But Monsieur Beckers and the workers would never have been forced into that position had their working conditions been satisfactory to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
This is outrageous! Do you plan on blaming everyone for doing their jobs? I suppose it makes you feel better about yourself, doesn't it?
Okay. Although Monsieur de Silva eventually opened up, he was defensive when we discussed the matters of his blackmail, and that it was a private conversation behind closed doors. I cannot imagine he will be forthcoming in front of the other guests. He is going to need some convincing to admit his faults again. Direct. Hey, Cooley! If you were simply doing your job and treating your men fairly, there would not be a strike to talk about. Insult. Oh, I have never heard of such a pathetic attempt to justify one's actions. The problems stem from you and your decisions. So this one. Direct.
It may be a big deal to you, but I am used to work as not being happy with something. And most of the time, that unhappiness is directed at me. When you're in charge of your own factory, you'll understand. I handled the situation the best I could. If you think otherwise, maybe you have proved us all right, that you aren't the great detective you claim to be.
Okay. Proud. Anything I claim to be is supported by facts and truth. Threatening. The desire to hide one's secrets is a powerful force. I wonder how easily yours is broken. Straightforward. You were willing to pay an anonymous blackmailer. You were willing to pay an anonymous blackmailer that accused you of the same.
You said it. Anonymous. They will do anything.
Oh, my neck.
Including constructing lies to get their hands on it. I recall them just fine, thank you. A police officer trying to manipulate facts to fit his own agenda. Shocking.
Okay, forceful. Claims of abuse against your staff and the hiring of a militia, those are facts that have been twisted to my agenda. Assertive. Intentional or not, your arrangements with the major kindled the fire that started the riots. Claims of abuse against your staff and the hiring of a militia. He didn't actually know that they were going to do that, though. Those are facts that have not been twisted. Intentional or not, your arrangement with the major kindled...
Do you really think this is the first time blame has fallen at my feet? Although I don't think I've seen someone try so hard before to even convince themselves of what they are saying.
Have you not learnt enough already from having your factories closed? If you have any hope to return to normality, you must admit your faults and accept the repercussions.
Okay.
I may have been a little harsh with my staff. I only wanted to prepare them for the realities of this world. I was never given the opportunities that they have today, and I succeeded. All they do is demand more and more at the factories and at the house. How am I meant to keep a good profit if every franc is going to them? I offered what I could. I was willing to meet in the middle. But maybe that wasn't enough. Swallowing one's pride is no easy feat. But if it means that a young girl will receive fair judgment, I am prepared to do it.
Okay.
Merci, monsieur, for your honesty. Admitting your responsibility is an honorable move.
What now, Detective? Is this absurdity going to continue much longer?
Oh my god, I hate her so much.
Even after all your attempts, Detective, Felix was still murdered. Self-defense or not, she chose to hide what she had done because she knew what she had done was wrong. And she will be punished for it.
Wow, my neck.
It was not choice to hide anything, madame. If in her position, I ask, what would you have done? The Major has already furiously thrown an object at you, barely missing your head, and now has hold of your arm.
I wouldn't have driven a knife into him, that I can tell you for sure. She is no fool. She intended to kill, not to defend.
Yeah, no problem. See you, Cooley. Okay, Madame Vanden Bosch will be a much greater challenge, but my method of approach has worked with her before. If I am to sway her into seeing that Mademoiselle Elizabeth has no other option, I must persuade her that it was the Major's action that drove her to do what she did. You were closest to the Major. His violent temper cannot come as a surprise. Forthright. Speaking with the guests this weekend, it is not the first time the Major has shown his threatening nature.
Quite presumptuous of you to assume violence is in his nature.
Oh, for freak's sake, lady.
Putting my own feelings towards the Major aside, he was not an honorable man, at least at some time in his life. He must have been for you to allow him in your house for so many years.
Okay. Ooh, she looks ashamed of herself.
So, even you confirm he had a history of aggression.
Well, direct. The Major was dishonorably dismissed from the British military. Are you aware of why? Well, she probably knows. He played the role of a caring friend very well. But that is all it was, a performance. Well, I mean, what's-her-face? Comtesse told us that he was very, very abusive towards her, so... And she knows that.
You have no idea. He was there for us when we needed him.
Oh, my neck, sorry. He was there for us when we needed him.
You were there for him when he needed free room and board.
That is not the case, and you know it.
His actions are unforgivable and should not be defended by anyone.
You judge him so harshly, but I return the question. What would you have done in his position? He had made mistakes. I will not deny that. In those moments when a decision had to be made, it fell to him, and he did what he saw fit.
Straightforward. Making a poor decision once is from the Major. You cannot justify that. There we go. Doubtful. The Major ordered the attack on unarmed workers. Surely you cannot condone that. she doesn't care about other people suffering. Like, if we make it more personal for her.
S'il te plaît, madame. I ask that you consider everything you know of the Major carefully.
He was not always like that. The man that I called a friend would never have done what he has. I cannot allow another innocent person to be punished for his vicious and barbarous behavior.
Hey, Luca.
You have seen the Major act in a
Hi,
similar
baby.
manner as I described before, haven't you? What was the outcome then?
Hi, darling. What's up? Hey. You are such a suck. This is the last night with us. We're gone tomorrow. Hi, BB. No, don't lick my face. You're such a sweetheart, though. Hi, my love. Hello, darling. Okay. What was the outcome then?
You have convinced me that I am wrong, in both my opinion on Elizabeth's punishment and in the friendships I keep. Is that not enough for you?
No.
Not when a potential crime has been committed, and I fear an innocent party may have been punished for it.
He was just a boy. I told you. He was like a wild animal.
He raped her?
The confrontation with Mademoiselle Elizabeth was not the first time he has come close to killing another.
It was following the officers' ball. A young man, no older than
Oh, never mind.
16, stopped us on the street. begging for some change.
Never mind. I completely
Felix
misunderstood
pushed him
that.
away, but he was persistent. He only wanted a few coins. Like a flash, Felix snapped and wouldn't let go of him. He would not stop punching him. I have never seen anything so brutal.
But he was never charged for the attack.
Felix called the captain at the station and said that the boy had tried to rob him, and he was merely defending himself. The boy was thrown behind bars without a second thought. It was a full week before the bruises on Felix's knuckles finally faded.
Jesus Christ.
And even after witnessing such a brutal assault, you still support him. You still believe that he had not attacked Elizabeth.
This bitch.
The days following, he showed no signs of remorse, no apology to him or to me. I blamed it on the amount he had had to drink. But when you began talking about him finding Elizabeth in his study, I somehow knew it had happened again.
Had you been open about the Major's temper, this could all have been avoided. When you tell the court the truth, Mademoiselle Elizabeth's self-defense plea cannot be ignored.
Yeah.
Just when I thought I could not see a more spineless move.
Really, Margot?
Excuse me?
You allowed a bully and thug to remain in your house and endanger your family.
I'm sorry, Margot, but I am struggling to understand why you have involved yourself in this affair.
I'm surprised you can hear me way up there on that high horse of yours.
She's gonna be taken down several fucking notches.
Dare you speak to me in that way? Who I decide to keep in my house is my decision and no one else's.
I can see that. Murderers, thieves, and extortionists are all acceptable, it seems.
Countess, I have talked at length of the Major's death, but not the reason for my invitation in the first place. When I last gathered you all together, I spoke of a blackmail ring that was rife in the area, and then of the letter that the Major had received. Mademoiselle Angeline requested my help personally after she received such a letter threatening her family name. She felt I was the only one that could uncover the truth. And uncover the truth I have.
Get on with it, detective. Who dared try and extort my family and then have the gall to allow me to welcome them into my home?
If it was not for the honesty of a young servant, I would perhaps still be looking for the
For goodness sake, it was me.
Oh, okay.
Margot, how could you?
While it looked as though the Countess was helping the young women at the shelter, she was in fact only finding them positions of employment in wealthy homes to gather information on them and learn secrets that she would ultimately be able to use against them. Monsieur da Silva fell victim to her network of moles and was in turn blackmailed. It was quite the prosperous setup you had, knowing that they would not be prepared to lose their social standing if a secret was to find its way from where it had been hidden for so long.
That cannot be true, Margot. How could you do such a cruel thing?
That is rich, coming from you.
You are one of my oldest friends.
High and mighty, Madame van den Bosch. You think you can do what you wish when you wish it and there will be no repercussions. You are as bad as all of them.
If I do not get a straight answer out of you, I will march you to the police station myself.
I'm surprised it took the Major this long to start living with you. He must have been on the edge for some time.
How dare you speak to me like that? In my own home.
A home you share with the father of your daughter for so many years. And she still remains none the wiser.
This bitch, you had no fucking... Oh my god.
You have no right.
Maman.
Angeline? Have you heard what she has admitted to? She is merely trying to make herself...
Is what she says true? Felix, he was my father? That is the secret that the letter was talking about, isn't it? You told me that we had nothing to hide. Detective Poirot, were you aware of this?
Oui, mademoiselle. But it was not my place to repeat.
Oh, great.
I don't understand. What about father?
What are you doing?
Your maman betrayed the love of a good, honest man and played away behind his back and then kept it hidden for all these years like a lady of the night with her client list.
You will say no more. Angeline, I...
Did Felix know?
Yes.
This is not an appropriate conversation.
He knew, dear girl. He knew the whole time. It is only dear Edwin that was blind to their deceit.
You will not talk of him like that. You will not talk of him at all.
If I don't, who will? You never deserved him. You don't even deserve the memory of him.
Oh, is that her motive?
There is something that you still have not explained.
That's her motive. She loved
What
him.
more is there for her to say?
How long were you in love with the Viscount for?
Margot? Is that true?
We were destined to be together. And then you turned up. And I was all but forgotten about.
But you were nothing more than friends.
And you made sure of that, didn't you? From the day you arrived, it was all about what you wanted and what you had to do to get it. You didn't consider Edwin at all. He was just a purse to you.
I loved my husband, and I miss him every day.
Loved him enough to stray?
Exactly.
Both of you, no more.
Please, Angeline, let me explain.
Maman, I do not wish to hear anything else from you.
Not even your own daughter wants to hear your lies anymore. Cassandra van den Bosch, all alone.
How dare you!
While I feel a sense of satisfaction and pride in solving both cases, there is still a part of me that is reluctant to revel in triumph. I am content with the unmasking of Countess de Vos as the blackmailer, and knowing that she will pay for her crimes. But it is the justice for Mademoiselle Elizabeth that worries me. She will stand in a court of law, and I can only hope that they can see she acted in self-defense. I must trust that our legal system and justice will prevail, and a fair sentencing will be given. In protecting her own life, she took the life of another. Perhaps the guilt she must live with is a greater punishment than any sentence she can receive.
Oh.
Countess de Vos was taken from Nemozinet House in cuffs and placed under arrest. Although she initially tried to plead her innocence, Inga, along with a number of other girls that the Countess had found employment for, came forward and made full statements. She was charged with 5 counts of blackmail and extortion and sent to a house of corrections, where she will have a new life to become accustomed to.
Archie.
Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna were also reprimanded for their participation. While they may not be facing time in prison, tampering with a crime scene and obstruction of a police investigation are certainly not something that houses and new employers will look positively on. Mademoiselle Angeline finally became Madame Demire, and together they took up residence in England, where Monsieur Demire continues to support and fight for fairness and equality in London. I am happy to say that we have remained in contact, and Madame Demire has become a regular correspondent of mine, and the latest joyous news is that they are expecting a child of their own. Madame Van den Bosch showed compassion that I had not seen in her before. She stood in court and gave a truthful and genuine character reference of Elizabeth, as well as describing the Major and the atrocious crimes he had committed. After Madame Van den Bosch's secret was revealed to the world, her position in the social hierarchy was no more, disappearing in a moment. While she still resides in Belgium, I believe she has had to adapt to a far more modest way of life. A humbling experience for her, I'm sure.
She deserved
Following her
that.
actions in the courtroom, Angeline believed that her maman still had a place in her life. Although they are on different sides of La Manche, they remain in contact. Mademoiselle Conrad left Nemozinet House the same way she entered, confident in herself and audacious in her opinions. Her report of the Major's murder at the house and the surrounding blackmails became one of the most talked about stories of the year. While there were certain details of her own involvement that did not make it to print, she was really quite complimentary about the detective at the heart of the case. Monsieur de Silva tried to continue in his position as factory owner and business entrepreneur, but after his accounts and business dealings were investigated following the details of his blackmail being made public in Mademoiselle Conrad's article, his illustrious business empire began to crumble and is now facing an international corporate investigation.
Good.
Monsieur Beckers stepped down from his position as union leader, accepting that he was no longer fit to represent the workforce that, in his words, he had let down on a scale of unmeasurable proportion. Although he is no longer the voice of the workers, he continues to support them from behind the scenes.
That's good.
Monsieur Zachariah and his brother made amends, and returning to his family home, and after sobering up, he was able to find the help that he required. I understand that he is now helping fellow soldiers with similar conditions. And Mademoiselle Elizabeth, she stood before a court, and while the proceedings were deemed controversial, the charges against her were dropped, and the reasoning of self-defense was accepted by the presiding judge.
Oh, that's good.
Madame Van den Bosch's testimony, along with Mademoiselle Angeline's declaration of her good character, was enough to show that it was not in Elizabeth's nature to act in such a violent way. The abundance of evidence against the Major, and his violent and cruel nature, including his appalling acts during the strikes and the war, was more than enough to prove that Mademoiselle Elizabeth had no other option in that situation but to defend herself in any way that she could. With the new arrival of Madame and Monsieur Demire's child next year, They have agreed to give Elizabeth the opportunity to return home to England and take up a position in their home as nanny.
Oh, nice.
The death of Elizabeth's beloved Luke has been at the center of everything. Had those in positions to help not acted with only themselves in mind, perhaps he would still be alive today, and the Major would have paid the price for his own crimes in the eyes of the law, not at the blade of a knife. The blood of Major Felix Egan will remain on Elizabeth's hands. A stain that wherever she is and whatever she may do, she will never be able to wash clean. However, it will remain as a reminder to not only her, but all of us, of what we as human beings are capable of to protect ourselves. We all have something that may be considered shameful or sinful, and it is how we deal with it that shows our true character. Those involved in the riots, the workers' deaths, and the Major's killing believed themselves to be untouchable. Whether it was from their social standing or their confidence in themselves, they learned that everyone is accountable for their actions. There is no exemption because of the suit you wear or the money in your bank account. There is no price to a man's life. It cannot be bought or traded or discarded. No man is better than another, including Detective Hercule Poirot.
Okay, that is the end, you guys. That was fun. I honestly thought Fleurette was going to make an appearance, or a mention at least, but yeah, she's just in the first part and then you never fucking see or hear from her again, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. I was actually pretty damn fucking on spot with a lot of my first accusations. I said it was the servants. I said it was originally Archie and Elizabeth, and then with other information I thought it was Archie and the cook, and then I thought it was Archie and Elizabeth again, and then I thought it was the cook and him again. I don't know. I kind of kept switching. But I was right about it being the staff and the people who were involved with the murder. So the blackmailer, like I figured out why they were being blackmailed, some of them, but the blackmailer, I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that. That was actually really clever how it was Comtesse using her staff to spy on all the rich people that she was sending their staff members to. So yeah, that was actually well done. I don't know, I kind of disappointed myself I didn't catch on to that. But yeah, let's see if I can exit that. Let's see if there's anything at the end. No, there isn't. Okay, cool. Okay, so that was the Hercule Poirot, the first cases, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be streaming next, but I probably won't. If I do end up playing something, it probably won't be anything until the weekend, because I am going to be busy until tomorrow afternoon, evening at the latest, with heading back home after house sitting for a month. So, but yeah, I will see you guys in the next stream, whatever that may be. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys then.